right. What is it? 12:41 Eastern Standard Time. Good afternoon. I was going to say good morning, good afternoon. I am doing a live for Father's Day. I might do a reading. It's not necessarily the plan at this point. We just gonna go ahead with what we got. All right. I was my Wi-Fi where I live is not the greatest. And sometimes I do lives and I go back and look at them. Sometimes they're clear the whole way through. Sometimes they're not. Okay. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi, somebody black magic witchcraft. But whatever enough is said, enough is heard, I feel. Okay. But anyway, this is for Father's Day. Um, it had been on my mind to do, let's see, okay. It had been on my, hold on. Okay. It had been on my mind to do a live of my dad for a few weeks now, but I really didn't want to. Most of the lives I do, I don't want to do them. But when I'm on, I do really enjoy being on. I like the energy, as opposed to when you just record a video and upload it, which is, of course, most of my content in terms of my readings. But anyway, so it's Father's Day. So a while ago, I had shared some things about my dad, about feelings that I had about my dad in my community tab. There was a picture that I posted. Hold on. Listen, it's hot than a motherfucker today. Okay. Hello, good afternoon to whomever is in the room. It's hot than a motherfucker today. It's like 86 degrees so far. Okay. And, it's supposed to be in the 90s for the next few days. I can't stand all that damn heat. I'm sorry. I just can't. I don't like it. Okay. I don't like extreme heat and I don't like extreme cold. Okay. That one extreme or the other. I just like a night. Give me 70 degrees. 72, 73 degrees. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I love it. All right. So my favorite times of the year are spring, when it's cool, because this is officially still spring, I think until the 20th or the 21st, and autumn. Okay, the colors of both, the dying leaves, colorful, the spring, the blooming flowers and whatnot, the trees and whatnot. And, as they're budding, the leaves are budding. Sometimes they're white, various colors, they're colorful. I love all that. Okay. But then when you get into the extreme of winter, it's like, oh God. Into the extreme of summer, oh God. It's just, I don't like it. Okay, I got me some coffee. I drink coffee every morning. But I can drink hot coffee all the time. Y'all see me sweating. But I had to put some ice in this motherfucker right here. Okay, I usually don't get this big of a cup. Okay, I usually get the small, but I don't know. I wanted it, but nevertheless. I ain't gonna be on here long. Me and my daughter are going to go enjoy the uncomfortable hot ass weather in a couple of hours, okay? She might look at me and be like, I wanna go home. It's too hot. But anyway, back to my dad. It's Father's Day. So this is, what would you say, an ode to my father. Now some of you all who may have been following me on my channel for a while. Oh, I was talking about the picture. There's a picture of me as a little girl and my dad, and I'm looking up at him, he's looking down at me, and we're smiling. I remember that day I talked about it in the community tab. I can't remember when I posted it. It was a long time ago, and I'm not going back to look for it. But I remember that specific day. I remember that day. I remember we were at the park. I can't remember which park it is here, okay? I just remember what it looked like, and I remember the area we were in, rather. I mean, there's a lot of parks around here, so, I'm here in Metro Parks, I'm hearing maybe it was one of the metro parks. I'm hearing it was one of the metro parks. What do they call the metro parks here? The Emerald necklace or something like that. I think that's what they call it. I think it's shaped all the metro parks. It goes around the entirety of the area, I believe, and of course parks, green, forests and trees and grass and all of that type of thing. So it's called the. I think that's what they call the Emerald necklace. This area, a lot of times Cleveland has been made fun of, a lot of TV shows, but especially like back in the 70s and 80s, okay? But you often hear still to this day, and, me and my daughter be watching some random movie, and Cleveland is mentioned. It's always mentioned. Cleveland is an old city. I'm not quite sure how old it is, but it's old as fuck, okay? And it is still one of the major cities of the United States. Population has seriously decreased, okay, from what it was. But it really is a beautiful area, Northeast Ohio. It's really beautiful here, especially when you visit some other major cities. We have a lot of, and I'm not saying other major cities are not beautiful. I'm saying, okay. Still, I've mentioned this before. A lot of the trees are here. They didn't, tear them down. A lot of it, kept a lot of nature here. In fact, there's water everywhere, rivers, streams, the lakes. I think the only body of water that, of course, wouldn't be here is an ocean. But we got rivers, lakes, streams, all of that. Okay. It's a lot to do in the area. It's a lot to do, especially in terms of, nature type things. It's a lot here. Now, I don't live far from, there's a thing called the Shaker Nature Center, okay? And, schools go there for field trips and everything. I worked there one time, okay? When I first came back to Cleveland, got me a good afternoon to whomever's in the room. Got me a job as a temp agency. I had never heard of it, and shit. Well, not walking distance now, where I live now, but it could be. This place will have water. It's waterfalls here. This place will have streams and little bodies of water, little lakes and stuff hidden. It's like right in the city. Oh, just turn around, go around that corner, and then around that bend, and boom, there's a lake. Man-made, of course, okay. But anyway, it's a lot here in terms of nature. So whatever, I can't tell you what park we were at. I don't remember. It was so long ago, okay. And then when you do like the metro parks, a lot of people have, gatherings there, picnics. Gatherings there, picnics, family reunions, all of that type of thing. Shit, which one? Which metro park? And then you go in them, and they're like mile and 2 miles and 3 miles, and God knows however many miles long, way down and deep in the crevices. Anyway, it's a lot. So I can't tell you where we were. I don't remember, but I from what I remember thinking that he was meeting us there. He met us there. And I did. I talked about in the community tab how when I was a little girl, it was just like there was distance, with my dad. Like, and I couldn't really. This is from my perspective. I cannot speak from another person's perspective. Okay, I didn't really. I was little. Shit, I didn't know how to articulate. And then, like I said back then, there's some things you did not articulate. Okay, you didn't speak. Some things, of course, I was able to. Okay, a lady who raised me, she did give us some freedom of speech, especially, from that time period. Some people, and I feel like her, what she was used to in terms of her family, because this is what she verbalized to me, some shit you just couldn't say as a child, you know what I'm saying? But she did give us some freedom of speech, which was a good thing, because I can't speak from my siblings' perspective. I can only speak from my own. Okay, because that was him. She did allow freedom of speech within reason. Okay, so anyway, it wasn't like we were just verbally. Well, I'll say me. You know, I'm pretty sure she was the same way with him. You know, verbally shut down. No, she ain't do that shit. Okay, even though I think she might have been raised that way. You know, she didn't do that. But anyway, and I just remember feeling like this emotion, this, and I can articulate it now, emotional distance. That there was some emotional distance, and I couldn't figure out why. I never understood why. So I remember he came, and I knew he was only going to be there for a short period of time. You know, it was just like this longing I had, you know, for my dad. Okay, and what person wouldn't? Now, when I share my things here with you all in terms of my life, okay, and my how I was raised, or things that I felt and thought and all of that kind of stuff, it makes me absolutely no difference what anybody thinks about it, okay, because it was mine, okay, and it still is mine. So people can form their judgments and whatnot, because if everyone was brave enough to share, okay, the some of the issues of the heart of their life, okay, you know, okay, so whatever on that note. But anyway, so and my parents, and sometimes I still call lady who raised me my mother, or you know, like I said, my parents, shit, 49 years of thinking that somebody is your birth mother and your biological mother. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? Of course you're going to keep doing that, okay? But anyway, they separated, I think when I was about 3 years old. You know, I don't know when their official divorce was, okay? I remember the day my dad didn't come home, okay? When I was little, my father, we grew up in East Cleveland, okay? When I was an infant, we were in a house in East Cleveland on 133rd, I think. Or was it 131st? I can't remember. This is East Cleveland. And then we moved to a street called Plymouth, right off Shaw, in East Cleveland. We were the last house on it, going down the street. We were the last house on the left side. And then my street, that street was like a dead end street, because then there were some apartments that were there, and you couldn't go through the street. You know, it was like you went down the street, the apartments were there, then around, then you turn to your left, and then if you were, then you could turn to your right, but then it was a dead end. We couldn't get out of there. Man, listen, we had good afternoon to whomever is in the room. We had so much fun growing up on that street. You know, like I said, 1972, came into the world. Okay, but we had a lot of fun, you know, kids outside playing and whatnot. I remember one time I remember at one point I was the littlest thing on the street, and we were all playing, and we were at the house, the very first house. All the kids was at the first house on the street when you turned onto the street, playing, because they had like a big backyard. At least it seemed big back then. Playing, having so much fun, and all I remember, it was like house to house. Nikki, your mother wants you. 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 You know, it was that kind of communal thing back then, okay? And my little self running all the way down the street to see, you know, what she wanted, you know. But anyway, railroad tracks behind the house was like a huge field, and it was like went down like a little hill, and then you could go up. This is from what I remember, and then there were the railroad tracks. I swear we went, because a lot of kids would go to that. I swear we went one time, because she wasn't, we couldn't go in other people's houses, okay, and of course it's the railroad track, so it's dangerous. But I think we went one time. I can't remember. There's something about those tracks where we asked or something like that, or we got close to it or something like that. But I was so little. But I remember when my dad, when they were still together, and oh man, listen, for me, it was like a joy to see my dad walk through the door after work. It's like when he walked through the door, it's like I just saw the sunshine. You know, my dad just was the sun to me. That's how I remember looking at him, like literally like the sun, the literal sun in the sky just walked through the door. I was just so overjoyed, so happy all the time when I saw him. One memory that I have distinctly. I used to love Doritos when I was little. Love Doritos. And anybody from that, hello to the two people that are in the room. If anybody remembers from that time period, remember the bag, how it used to be the big family bag of Doritos. It was white. It was, you know, how they had the clear part where you could see through the Doritos, and it was white, and it had the red and the blue on there and the yellow and whatever. And me and my dad, we had the living room, which they did have a couch and stuff in there, but for some reason, the dining room, always had a couch in the dining room with the dining room table. I don't know why. Okay. But we had a couch in there too. And me and my dad were in there we were watching a football game. Now, mind you, I probably was about 2 or 3 years old, okay, because I was not interested. I don't like watching sports on TV as an adult, but we were watching and we were eating the Doritos, and I was just smashing them. And I remember he looked at me. He said, "They good, ain't they, Nick?" And I said, "Mm-hmm." And I do remember thinking, "Where's my brother and my mother at?" And I think, if I remember, I think she was at work or something, and maybe he was in the back sleep. Or he wasn't there. I can't remember. But anyway, but it was me and him watching, and I recalled that memory maybe about 2.5 years ago. It might have been this time. Well, what is this? June. It was like June. What's this? Maybe 2022. I recall that memory. It was during COVID, during the lockdown, and we were at this ice cream place. Me, the lady that raised me, and my daughter, we were at this ice cream place. We had to stand outside for the line. We couldn't go in. So it was after when things had been lifted. Hello to whoever's in the room. When everything had been lifted in terms of the lockdown, but certain places still had their, restrictions up. And that memory came to me just like nothing. And I remember sharing it. I said, "Wait, you know what I just thought about?" And I told her, and she said something to me that was just really weird. Okay, I'm not going to go into it, but she said something to me that was really weird. And I'm hearing the word shame. It was like there was some shame there. And she couldn't look at me in the face. And I was looking at her, "What the fuck? Why would you say that?" But that was during the time period when I was beginning to realize, well, I always knew something was off. I always knew something was off. But when I was beginning to realize, okay, something is not right here. There's some strange shit going on here. Okay. But anyway, so despite, like I said, those who watch my channel, I've shared some of my life here with you all in terms of finding out the truth about my biological mother. Okay, which and when I found these things out, it answered a whole lot of questions that I had ever since I could remember. When I say ever since I could remember, I mean when I was a little teeny tiny little thing. Okay, questions like, "Ooh, what the fuck is this?" Something strange. You know what I'm saying? Something's not fucking right here, okay? And I was talking to this guy one time that I know here. You know how some people in there, you periodically run into them. And he was somebody that every blue moon I run into, and when we do run into each other, we talk for a long time. And he was sharing with me, I asked him, I said, how's your daughter? And he said that he just told me, he said, she's not my daughter. And I said, oh my goodness. I kind of figured that based off some other shit. But anyway, but it's none of my business. Okay, and who am I to say for sure? But he said that. And he was telling me how at one point they looked each other in the face. And he said that she looked at him as if to say, "Who are you? I don't know you." A young girl, not teenager or anything, a kid. And he said he was looking at her and he felt the same thing, and he felt that coming from her. He said, "I knew right then and there that this was not my daughter biologically." And of course, after that, he got a test, and that was the case. No, she was not. And I said, "Wow, that's interesting." I told him, I said, "Yeah, I had the same thing." I said, when I was little, I knew something. I was not. It's like being placed somewhere. Okay. Not somewhere where I belong or fit or was supposed to be. And I don't know about saying supposed because I feel like everything happens for a reason, you know. Is it a supposed to be thing or what? Or, you know, or is it just is. But anyway, I'm not going to go into the entirety of my life growing up. I had a wonderful upbringing, despite, you know, some of the maybe the things that were going on in the background that I was not privy to, but I knew some shit wasn't right. I wouldn't doubt there might be suppressed memories or issues, but at the same time, I know when you talk about things like this, you got to be careful because you don't want to put something there that is not there, or make something be that is not, or try to, you know, create memories that did not happen, things like that, you know. But despite the feelings, the knowledge of what I felt and knew as a young person, you know, I had a wonderful upbringing. Okay, I had a wonderful life, despite I feel as though the lady who raised me probably was doing some dark things in the background, you know. She gave me a nice home. Okay, for I'll put this for the things that were not hidden. Okay, I did. Okay, and I think I made a video. I think maybe 2 summers ago. I think something about Mama. I can't remember the name of the video. Something about Mama. She gave me a nice home. She gave me, you know, I was never hungry, never starving. You know, good school, sent me to decent schools, nice schools actually. Was pretty supportive of things that I wanted to do. She was in church, which for me I think was good. You know, if y'all watch my videos and stuff, I'm always giving some kind of church reference or biblical reference because that's what it was. You know, that was that shit was instilled in me. It wasn't just we went to church just on you know. The holidays like Easter and all of that type of thing. Everybody will know I was raised heavily in that shit. My great grandfather was one of the founding bishops of the Church of God in Christ, which was on my dad's side. Okay, and that's church I went to for years until I started going to church with my grandmother. Y'all see me post, for those who pay attention and watch my channel, you see me post gospel songs, things that meant a lot to me in terms of, especially going to church with her. It was a wonderful experience for me. Beautiful choir, one of the best choirs in the city at the time. You know, things have changed. I'm not saying it's bad now, you know, but things have changed. They're not like they were, but in the 80s, you know, I had a wonderful, wonderful upbringing. Okay, I had babysitters. They were sisters. Their home became our home. Their mother became our mother. Their father became our father. We called him mama. We called him daddy. They took us every damn way. They took us to fucking Florida, Hawaii, California. They took Milwaukee. They took us all over everywhere. You know, there was never a dull moment when we were with them. Never. You know, they had me since I was an infant. Okay, they became more like older sisters as opposed to, you know, babysitters. Okay, so on that note, okay, because no one's going to tell me what my life is or what my life was when I fucking lived it. Okay, that makes no sense. On that note, you know, I had a wonderful upbringing. I was never abused in terms of like I wasn't beaten. Now, did I get what we call in the black community, hello to members in the room, you know, quote unquote whoopings? You goddamn right. Okay. I was never beaten. I was never called out of my name, you know, bitches and all of that type of thing like some people do their children. That just was not an experience that I had. I'm not putting it down. Matter of fact, the first time I heard somebody do that, I was in college. This girl was telling me, just so casually so, you know, conversation with her mother, and she called her a bitch, and I was just like flabbergasted. And I probably was like a junior in college when she told me that, you know, because I had never heard no shit like that before. You know, that just was not my experience. Okay, I'm not saying I didn't have friends who experienced that. I don't know. See, I wasn't one to, I was home most of the time. Okay, I did have friends, of course, that I hung out with. She wasn't, Lady Raised Me wasn't big on you staying overnight in people's house and everything like that. She did allow me to do it sometimes, but she wasn't big on that shit. She didn't like that, and she didn't even care if it was family. She told me that, and she didn't like them over our house all night long and all of that type of thing. But she did allow me to do it with some hesitation, but she did allow it. But not, it wasn't an all the time thing. So I didn't know what the hell was going on in other people's house. I knew what was going on in mine. Okay, so I hadn't seen anything like that before. All right. But nevertheless, like I was saying, I did have a wonderful upbringing, and I'm thankful for the upbringing I did have. Okay. Honestly, could I say I wouldn't trade it? In a way, I would say I wouldn't trade it. Okay. I just keep that like that for right now. Okay. But back to in terms of my dad. My dad was not. He wasn't like always there. Obviously, like my parents. Or they, like I said, they separated. I think I was about 3 years old. I remember him not coming, that ball of sunshine not walking through the door anymore. And that bothered me. I expressed it to the lady that raised me, and she guided me through that. It was very difficult. It was a very difficult thing for my sibling. It was very challenging for him. Okay, maybe so much so to this day. It was very challenging. He had him around much longer than I did. But it doesn't matter. It's his father, I guess. Okay. And people ask me, is he his son, biological son? I'm like, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. And people look at me strange, and it's like, no, there's no need to look at me strange, because see, when you find out things like this, you don't know what's true and what isn't true. Okay, you don't. You know what you're told. And me finding that out, it's like there are thousands of folks out there with these stories, and I'm hearing secrets, of course, with these secrets, and these children, people think they belong to someone, and then they don't, and they may be treated different, and it may be just the most subtle thing, just subtleties. Okay, not sometimes with people it's super obvious. Okay, and then sometimes it can be very subtle where it's hardly picked up on, but that child, they pick up on it. They notice a difference. They feel it. Okay, and they may not know why. Okay, and then they find out maybe later, because see, ain't nothing done in secret that won't be brought to the light. Nothing. There's nothing hidden. There's no such thing. Okay, it's a secret for a while. People talk about, they're going to hold that till they go to their grave. They might, but see, they're not the only person who knows that particular secret. So it's going to come out. Things are going to be made known. And I'm sure me finding out at 49 years old, was not something that anyone expected. I'm sure Miles probably hit the fucking floor. Like I said in the one video a couple of summers ago, who spilled the beans, motherfucker? Okay, but it didn't make no difference, because like I said, ever since I was very small, I knew I didn't belong somewhere in this dynamic. And it wasn't, I never felt that when I would go with my dad and I would go with his family. Never. I definitely look like them. Got that crooked smile, and I watch my video. I just did. I watch my videos. I go back and look at my videos. That crooked smile, that's a trait. That crooked smile I have. I'm laughing. I'm thinking about when my grandmother, this is my father's stepmother. See, the lady who raised me, I wasn't raised around her parents, because her parents were deceased, before I came along. So I never met them. But so all these grandparents and everything were my father's family, and my father's father had this thing that whenever a child was born, they was like, look at the child's feet. I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard this type of shit. If that middle toe, oh hey James, how you doing? If that middle toe ain't longer than that big toe, that ain't no list. They said that's one of the first things, bring that child home from the hospital and check that. That middle toe for me is I got long toes, okay, just like them, long toes. One time I had my daughter. I was in the store. My daughter was about 8 months. I was holding her. She had some keys and she dropped them on the floor. It was summertime. I picked them toes. I mean them keys up with my toes. And people were watching. They were cracking up. And it's like, well, they long. I got long toes, okay. And that middle toe, not middle, the second toe is long. Just like longer than that big toe, okay. But nevertheless, and I do. There's some of his family members. They all everybody thought I looked like his sister. My dad was the oldest, and she was the second. That I looked a lot like her. And in some pictures, I do look a lot like her. But these biological family, birth mother, is like one of them. I look more like her. She would be a great grandmother. I look like that lady spit me out. From teenage all the way up to however old, older age. Look like that lady said. Her and her son. And the interesting thing about it is, I'm supposed to be talking about my dad, but this stuff comes up. The interesting thing about it is my so funny, the James on here, he's a person who I want to say, he may not look at it like that, but kind of, I'm not going to reveal who he is or how I know him for the nosies, but he's a person, when I met him and a couple other people, when I was finding this information out, and I was sharing pictures with them because they didn't know me. They know me, so or anybody surrounding me, so there would be no biases or whatnot. And I'm just like, look at this shit right here. Is it me? Goddamn. No, bitch, you look just like these motherfuckers. Who are these people? You know what I'm saying? And who I've never, I've only revealed maybe to 2 or 3 people. Well, one person, 2 people who they were. Everybody else, 2 other people helped me through the process here. Okay, but well, 3 really. But anyway, I did not reveal who the biological family is to hardly anyone. I ain't gonna lie, a couple. Okay, and I will not. Okay, unless somebody blows the horn, unless one of them blows the horn and says, you can reveal. Other than that, absolutely not. Okay, I have had people come through with their dream infiltration trying to figure that shit out. It's so funny, because they're trying to get me to show them pictures in the dream. One person tried to cloak themselves as she figured like the white woman might look like. And it's like, no, bitch. You're not going to fucking know. Right? You're not going to fucking go on the internet. Okay? And find the fuck out, all right? It's like deep secret, all right? And it ain't no fucking celebrity and all of that type of shit, okay? For people who may be thinking that, no. Okay, but anyway, I wonder, I'm like, how the fuck did my dad meet this woman? I mean, how did they even connect? You know what I'm saying? Weird shit. Okay, but they did, all right, and here I is. All right, but anyway, like I was saying, so people ask me these questions, I don't know who the fuck he is. Is he my biological brother? I have no clue. Okay, all right, people just have children and they place them any fucking where. Okay, where they think it's best, so God knows what they do with them and all kind of things. Okay, the people just be displaced every goddamn where. All right, but anyway, but I remember when my grandmother was in the hospital. My dad's mother, not his stepmother, but his biological mother. I was doing my chaplain residency at Cleveland Clinic. Okay, chaplain residency is with the Association for Clinical Pastoral Education, for those who think that they want to check me out. And she ain't this, she ain't that, well, all that type of shit. Okay, but anyway, it's for a year, and I did it at Cleveland Clinic. My grandmother was there. okay, in the hospital. She wasn't well. So the supervisor at the time, Dennis Kinney, he allowed me to take time to visit. And it's so interesting because there were people there, relatives, who began to reveal some family shit to me, okay? And I just found it interesting. Like, why are you all telling me this shit? You understand what I'm saying? And it's okay though, but some of the things that they were revealing, I had already known, I had heard things, okay? But they were telling me a lot of things about my father. Not a lot, but enough, okay? It's like, okay, and one of my dad's sisters, one of my aunts, we would spend some quality time together, and she would reveal some things to me about him, more so concerning me. And I wasn't, I guess, I'm, in my, human state here, there are things here that are, how can I say, we relate to as human beings, okay? That we can understand one another's feelings about certain things or whatever, because, we're human, we are sharing this experience with one another. And I say that to say, like, my dad, I had always had this, my dad and my grandfather, his father, I'd always had this really kind of special love for them, okay? My dad, my grandfather, my father's stepmother, who I didn't look at her as my step-grandmother. She was my grandmother. I spent a lot of time with her, all the time. She was from Alabama. I used to go with her all the time, okay? That's the one I would go to church with. Okay, very close to her. One of her, I believe that was her nephew, one of her nephews. His name was Titus. We called him Too Tight. He was one, okay, of the men in my life who I just had this really kind of like deep, special love for. So I always had that for my dad. And despite anything that he may not have done as a father, of course I didn't like it. I wanted my dad to be around all the time. Love my dad. He's my father. I loved him. And I just always felt that I loved my dad. It was the emotional distance that I felt. It was a challenge. So people may say, I've had people say to me, how did you deal with some of these things? And even though as a child you felt a certain way, how did you deal with it? I dealt with it. My mind was, this is what I was told. I remember thinking that to myself as a little girl. This is what they told me. Like I said, lady who raised me, I never had an issue thinking that she wasn't my mother. I believed wholeheartedly she was my mother. Her family, that's another thing. I did not feel comfortable. When I said I didn't feel comfortable, there were sometimes I didn't feel comfortable at certain places, at certain times. Okay, like I gotta get the hell out of here. Okay, it don't feel safe at this moment. You understand what I'm saying? That wasn't all the time. All right. I did not feel connected. And I remember as a little girl feeling like, who are these people? I don't know them. Why am I here? Why am I here? And I remember I would think that often going around, like, I don't know these people. Why am I here? But I remember thinking too, well, she's my mother and this is her family, so they must be my family too. Okay, this is how my mind was working as a little girl. Okay, and I mean tiny. Okay. So I accepted what I was told. I accepted it, and just keep on going. Shit, what the fuck? What was it going? What good would it have done for me to not accept it? What was I gonna do? What? There was never one moment I ever felt that around my dad's family. Never. I never did. Okay. And even though I didn't really get to grow up around them, I knew them. Of course, I would go to family reunions and stuff like that, whatever kind of little things they had that, we would go around, which was rare. Okay. Good afternoon to whomever's in the room, but it wasn't, I didn't have that connection. I mean, I didn't feel that with them. Okay. I thought it was just a personality thing. I thought maybe I just had more of their characteristics, more of their traits. Well, obviously I did. I remember my sibling telling me one time, you act just like them. And, well, more so one of my aunts, you act just like her. I was like, what do you mean? You just like her. That's the one that everybody felt that I look a lot alike. I don't know if I look a lot alike, but there's some pictures where you can see the features that are there. Okay, but anyway. There's some features with my dad. It's just like sometimes, I remember one time I went to a MAC counter, and I let the lady make me put some makeup on it. And when she got done, she put the mirror in my face. She said, "How do you like it?" I said, "It's okay." And she said, "What do you think?" I said, "I look just like my father with makeup on." I look just like my dad. And at that moment in time, I got a lot of his features, a lot of his personality. My dad is an Aries as well. March 24th, and I'm April 4th. My dad is an Aries. So there's a lot of personalities. The lady who raised me, sometimes I would say something, do something, she'd laugh, she'd be like, "You just like your dad." But anyway, but I just basically, want to say, despite anything, I can remember, I could always get on here and say, "Oh, my daddy ain't did, my daddy ain't did, my daddy didn't do that." The negative things. It's just like, I don't carry those things concerning my dad. Now, has my dad said and done some things to me that, I didn't like? Of course. Have we always gotten along? No. Okay, that's normal for human beings and parents and children. Okay. Have I said things to my father that I'm sure he showed didn't appreciate? Absolutely. Has he said things to me that I definitely didn't appreciate? You goddamn right. Okay. When I got older, did I speak to those things? Yes, I did. Did I? Because people want to speak for you. You're not going to speak for me. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm going to speak for myself. Lady who raised me, you're not going to speak for me concerning anything concerning me, but definitely anything concerning my father. You're not. Okay. Damn sure not nobody I just met up off some fucking app who don't know me from fucking Canada. Big worms of beans. And damn sure not some family member who, what the fuck are you talking about? Who? You don't know me. Just because you have people in your family and they, you talk to them every now and then, every now and then, they don't know your motherfucking ass, okay? And especially anybody from that lady who raised me, from her family. Not one of you motherfuckers gonna say one motherfucking word for me. I'm speak for my fucking self. Especially the weirdos. My relationship with my father is my relationship with my father. My love for my father is my love for my father. How I feel about my father is how I feel about my father. And not damn sure, like I'm going to say it again, one of you motherfuckers is going to speak for me and think it's going to hold weight with me or any goddamn body else. Now, if it can hold weight for somebody else if they're dumb and stupid. Okay? And what would make you dumb and stupid thinking that you're going to listen to some bullshit about me and anybody in my family? About me, period, and you ain't said one word to me and ain't had a conversation with me. I'm gonna speak up for my fucking self. I don't give a fuck what you say, what you do, what you think, what you post, what you lie about makes me no fucking difference. Not today, not tomorrow, nor the next motherfucking day. And I'm gonna say this: I love my father with all my heart. I don't care what he can think, whatever he wants to think and feel, whatever he wants to feel. Anybody can. But that is one thing ain't nobody gonna strip from me. You ain't gonna strip a goddamn thing from me concerning me. I love my dad. I love my father. I have not talked to my father in a couple of years, and I find that it's best. Sometimes you You know how y'all say love people from a distance. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Especially good afternoon to whomever's in the room. Especially when you have motherfuckers who have done evil, nasty things to you in the fucking background, and that person, is believing it. Sometimes people believe shit because of their actions. It has nothing to do with you, but because of their actions. I knew as when I come to find out about this issue here that, oh, okay, this is my biological mother, and I do look a lot like her. But like I said, the ancestor, I look like she gave birth to me. I look just like her and her son. It is undeniable. That's what I wanted to say. Years ago, I got a reading. I might have mentioned this one time. I'm not sure. I got a reading from a spiritualist that I met on Facebook. Years later, they was dogging this man out. I don't know what the man had done. Something about his initiation or something or whatever. I can't remember. But he was, up until that point, how folks do. Up to that point, they was praising him like he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then I don't know what happened, but maybe somebody got mad at him, didn't like him. Maybe what they were saying about him was true. I don't know. I'm not going to make no judgment about him, okay? But I got a reading from him. The reading was so good. And he said to me, your mother's mother is with you. And I was just thinking, everything else seemed so on point. When he said that, I was like, I ain't feeling that. But again, I was thinking that this woman who raised me was my biological mother. And when I was going through the thing of finding out the truth, I'm a medium, so I called out to the lady who raised me, her mother. And she said to me, I don't know you. And I was like, well, what she mean by that? She just kept saying, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. And now I understand, just like I was looking at her family saying, I don't know these people. She wasn't mean or nasty or anything like that. She just said, I don't know. Because I asked her. I don't know. Okay, she was very kind. Okay, in the way she spoke to me. You can question my abilities. I don't give a fuck. I have enough reviews. People I've done mediumship work for, in other words, to say that the bitch is on point. Okay. But anyway, then there was someone else that I used to talk to a long time ago here on YouTube. This was like this was even before I started had my channel. When I first opened my first channel, and let's get into it. I gave it another name. It was my Kenyatta Neferkare. Okay. Back in 2019. This was even before I started that channel, but we used to talk. And she's very gifted. She's extremely gifted. And we were like FaceTime or whatever, I don't know, Messenger or some shit like that. And she was like, who is that older woman behind you? And I was like, I don't see, she was like, she's a white woman, with dark hair. And I was like, I don't know who that could be, And I'm looking, I was like, I don't see anybody or anything. And she told me, she said, this is not the first time I've seen her behind you, or like, there with you. Well, when when it was opening up to me about the truth, about who my biological mother was, this ancestor appeared to me, and I thought it was her. And then as time went on in my research and whatnot, I found out, oh, she's the great-great-great-grandmother. This is who the spiritualist had picked up on when he said, your mother's mother is with you. Grandmother, she's still a mother, is with you. And then she showed her, well, I don't know if she showed herself to me or a veil was lifted or what, but she appeared to me, and it hit me a long time later. That's who the sister saw. Okay, because she described it to a teacher. She said, she's older, she's a white woman, and she has dark hair. Okay, and that's who, I saw. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. But nevertheless, back to what I was saying. So I just wanted to say that for Father's Day. I'm sure, when I found this shit out, what a whirlwind. What a whirlwind. Good afternoon to whomever's in the room. What a whirlwind, okay? But, you know, people always ask me, how did you feel when you found out? I was like, I was elated. I was glad. Because I knew some shit was off ever since I was a little, tiny little thing. I knew it. And it answered so many questions that I had over the years. You know, it answered why I was feeling what I felt that was not positive. Okay. Being in that space. Okay. It was like being in a fucking, it's like, you know, I was like, goddamn, you know, and all the other shit, the negative shit that went along with it, okay, that people still try to throw at me, you know, but it was like, I was like, damn, I was like Daniel in the fucking lion's den, in the fucking belly of the goddamn beast. And at one point, you know, I did express, you know, I was angry with my father. You left me there with her, you know, she could have done anything to me. Well, in a way she did. You know, nothing physical, nothing that you could, you know, physically see. See, everybody ain't stupid, and they stealth with how they do what it is that they do. But again, there's nothing done in secret that won't be brought to the light, because the visual, okay, of what I saw from what she was to what she became. I don't care what you say or what you think, you know, who we are and what we do, that shit's going to surface. It's going to come to the surface. It's only so long you can keep shit buried before the shit comes to the surface. So yes, even as a little girl, I always felt that emotional distance. I remember I wanted, like, what, that day at the park, like, I wish he would stay. I wish he would, you know, I could feel I wish he would allow me to connect. I wish he would allow himself to connect to me. And why won't he? I remember that. I remember feeling that. Did I say it in those exact words? No, because I was probably like 5 or some shit like that. Okay. But I remember feeling that way, that he won't connect with me. You know. Was it hurtful? Of course. I didn't understand it. But it's so interesting too, because I did share some things about how I felt about, you know, my relationship with my dad, or my dad with the lady who raised me. Not often, but there were some times there was tears shed and everything. And it's kind of sad that people, they know these things and they see what you go through, but they won't assist you. They won't help you with that. Why? Because they got their agenda. I'm getting paid, bitch. I'm getting your money. And I'm not, because I remember there were times, I look back on, I said, I think there were times she wanted to even tell me the truth. Because she would call out to me, and I look, and she said, well, that's all right. You know. It is what it is. You know. This is not Mother's Day. Okay, this is Father's Day. So this is what I'm talking about, okay? But I will say this. I don't hold, you know, it's like I appreciate the positive that she did do. I really do. Because anything could have happened to me. And they could have threw me in the foster care system. Anything could have happened to me. She did keep me from some things. But see, it could have just been a money thing for her, you know, as opposed to, you know, true care and love. Okay. This is not a pity, you know. I don't want to be pitied by anybody. I'm not even feeling the need to. I'm only saying that because you know, that's what people will try to make it be. Okay. Instead of looking at their stuff and their family issues and the things that they come from, and work to heal that. You know, you don't have to share, you know, like some people do, or like I'm doing right now. Okay. But I do so because I always looked at, but in terms of the betrayal with her, no, I don't accept that. No, I don't like that. No, that's what you did. Okay. And no, I don't accept it. And I don't like it. But in terms of him, I don't know exactly what my father knew and what he didn't know. See, my father was off in his own world. But my father, too, is just like any person. I don't know all the ins and outs of my dad. My dad kind of shut down in some ways. Okay. It could be the time period that he grew up in. He may not look. See, I was talking to somebody about my age the other day, a couple weeks ago at my job, and we were just talking about, growing up as Generation X. It wasn't a whole lot of, good afternoon to whomever's in the room. It wasn't a whole lot of talk about feelings like people have now. That wasn't what, okay. It might have been some talk about it, but it wasn't no coddling and all of that type of shit for our generation. It just simply was not. You live, okay, the feeling, these things are normal, you work through them and you keep going. You don't coddle and baby yourself and act like a fucking victim and all of that type of shit. It's normal to the human experience. You have the feelings, but you get your ass up and you keep going and you keep living. I still kind of subscribe to that. I don't think ain't nothing wrong with little woo 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 woo. People need little woo woo woo. Okay, but not so much woo 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 to the point that they can't hardly function and they, stagnant and stuck because they're just a perpetual, because people are treating them like they're perpetual victims. Hello to whomever's in the room. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so. But when I did find out the truth, I realized it hit me. Oh, that is what the disconnect and the emotional distance that I felt all my life with him. That's what that was all about. I can't tell you the specifics of why, because he would have to share that, even if he even would. Okay. I mean, he may be somewhere still in denial. That ain't true what she's saying. Oh Lord, how the bitch find out. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. But it's okay. But one of the memories I have of my dad too, when my dad would come to get us when we were so little, especially in like the summertime. My dad knew some of everybody, I believe. Okay, and we'd go way out somewhere. I don't know where we would be like at, and because I was little, but my dad would have that window down, the music on blast, snapping his fingers. My dad was just so cool to me. Okay, he was cool in the game. He was. He was like me being raised in church. Like I said, the church that I grew up in, or this was on his side of the family. Okay, not the lady who raised me. Okay, she was just like a member there. Okay, but he was far removed from church. Okay, he wasn't going to nobody's damn church. Okay, when I was a kid, he was spiritual. A lot of the spiritual things people talk about nowadays. Okay, you got the internet, and which has opened worlds up for people. But back then, before that time period, my dad used to share a lot of this information with me. And there would be like small groups who would meet up, and talk about these types of things, and he would share some of this stuff with me. Okay. He didn't really like teach it to me, just in talking, just in conversation, because I was coming from a Christian background, okay, which he understood, but he was no longer part of that. None of the people in this family, they all walked away from that, okay, and I am here with good reason, okay, but anyway, so hello to members in the room. It's just like, for me, happy Father's Day. Oh yeah. So when I was in New York last year, when I was in New York, I was listening to a couple songs by Alexander O'Neal. I posted in my community tab, and it just made me think of him. Those summer days, you pick us up and we're sitting in the back seat, windows rolled down way out somewhere in the wind, blowing over our face and whatnot. And my dad would be in there just driving and snapping his fingers, just so cool, Him and his brothers, they were just some cool folks, especially my grandfather. Oh my gosh, my grandfather was cool and the gang. And my grandfather would not let, anybody. When I came into the fold, I was the only girl. It was my sibling, my cousin, and then me. I was the only girl. He was like, if it ain't a girl, send her back, And so he was very, very protective of me. He's the one I mentioned lives in that house that I was in, his house, okay, and told me he wasn't going nowhere. I passed by the house the other day. I said, I wonder, do the people in that house sense his presence? Okay, if he's made himself known. Because he told me, well, I ain't leaving. Okay, this is my house. I ain't going nowhere. Okay, granddad, you know. But cool in the gang, cool Moldy, okay, but they weren't, okay. But I just wanted to say that for Father's Day. It really doesn't make any difference to me what he may have known about this, what he may have thought he was keeping confirmation, keeping hidden from me. If whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I love my father, okay, and I'm gonna always love my father just the same way I always loved him when I was a little girl, even though the distance was there, even though he couldn't make the connection. But see, now that I'm a little bit older and I'm understanding things, I've done a lot of inner work with this shit. My father, I don't think he had that connection with anyone, that emotional connection with anyone. My father was the oldest of 10. Actually, there was a boy that was born before him that died. I believe, I don't know if the child was, died. I just know it died as a baby. That's all I know. My father, actually, as a baby, he almost died. Something about, I don't know, he couldn't breathe or something like that. He was a baby. And but they got him to the hospital on time, and he made it. My dad, he had his spine did that S kind of thing, and he didn't find this out until he was maybe like, I know he was an adult. I'm thinking maybe 30s or something like that, and he thought it was so amazing because my dad was an athlete. My dad ran track. I got pictures of my dad. When in the backyard, he was into martial arts. I'm not sure if my dad was a black belt, but my uncle, which was my dad's sister's husband, he was very well known. And I didn't know this until a guy that I used to study with when I was studying with the Hebrews. He was a black belt in martial arts. I think karate. I'm not sure which one. And I asked him one day, I said, do you know such and such? Mentioned my uncle's name. And he said, yeah, and I said, that's my uncle. And that's your uncle? That's your uncle. And so he was very well known in that. And I think he said, everybody know him. He was real good. But my dad, there are pictures of them together practicing their martial arts. He, what else did my dad do? Oh, like I said, he ran track. I remember even when I was a little girl going to track meets, and my dad would have this huge jar, I don't know, he's a huge jar of honey, and he had this big spoon and dip out his honey and eat the honey before he would run. And I was like, why you do that? And he was like, give me energy, babe. So we give him energy to run. I don't remember I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was damn good. What was the name of that track team? Oh shit, I don't remember. But he did it. I think he was doing that in his 30s. The Over the Hill Gang. The Over the Hill Gang. That's what it was. My uncle, my dad's brother. I do remember this. I think I was about, I don't know, I was small, but he was holding me. He used to smoke. So he was taking his cigarettes out of his shirt to smoke, and then he said I was snatching them, breaking them. Telling him not to smoke. This was while we was at the track, at my dad's track meet. And I remember doing that. Oh, that's right. But there was some pictures I have of him in the backyard where he had pails. He had 2 pails and a long stick, and he had the pails filled with sand, and he was, lifting it like a barbell or whatever. So my dad was always very athletic. Okay, and so for him to have that issue with his spine, I forget what it's called, and he said the doctors were like amazed to know that he was able to do. He said he never had any indication in any way that anything was wrong, And my dad actually, my dad always worked out, always was in the gym. Okay, all my life, that's not something that he did for a little while and stopped. No, he was always, working out well into his, 60s and whatnot. A lot of times he, go to the doctor and they would. He would always brag, "Don't tell me I got the body of a 20-year-old." And he's 56 60 something, you know. I don't know if they told him that, but, you know, maybe something like that, okay? Because he just took care of himself, you know. He took very good care of himself. My dad, when he lived in Atlanta, my dad ate a salad every single day. He had a salad in the refrigerator every single day. My dad liked hot stuff, like hot sauce and hot pepper. I mean, he liked the hotter the better. My dad would put hot sauce in his salad. And I remember one time when I went to visit him in Atlanta, when he was living there, and we went to some kind of festival downtown. Was that what it was? Yeah. And they had all these hot sauces, like the hottest. My dad was like, I'm searching for the hottest one. And he found it. It was clear. I don't know how he did it, but he got that shit. He bought that shit. He took that shit home. They used to, when he moved back here, there was a place here in a spot area called Legacy Village. They sold hot sauces like that for a gift one time. I don't remember if it was his birthday or Christmas or some shit. I found hello to members in the room. I found the hottest hot sauce for him because that's what he liked, and that shit was clear. That's what he liked, you know. So he took very good care of himself. But my dad at the same time, he would always have cakes and chips and all of that type of shit, you know, pop and stuff. And I was like, well, how do you go to the gym and eat all these? Because I can, baby. I've been doing this for so long. I've been taking care of myself for so long, working out for so long, baby. I can do this, you know. And he did. he looked good. He took very good care of himself. Very nice looking man. Okay, for those of you who have seen his picture. He always, but that was innovative, always did something, you know. I remember when I was a little girl, he used to do people's taxes. Lady who raised me told me about all these business ideas that he used to have, and him and his friend would start all these businesses, and you know how that go, you know, partner run off with your money, that type of shit, okay. I remember some of his friends when I was real little that would visit, some of his track buddies that would visit the house when they were still married and everything. And he worked for AT&T. He started, he did not have a college education. He started in a warehouse, I believe. And he just kept getting promoted. And he said that he went to the, you know, his boss and told him, you know, I feel like I can do more than this, you know, and they gave him an opportunity, and from there on, you know, he just kept getting promoted. I know he got to management, a level of management, okay, and it will move him. He lived in New Jersey. Well, first he moved to Columbus, job, then he moved to Cincinnati, did a job move, you know, because he kept getting promoted. Then he moved to New Jersey, Piscataway, New Jersey. He lived in, and I think from there is when he lived in Atlanta, in Stone Mountain. Beautiful home. He had a beautiful home. And eventually he came back here after he retired. My sibling had a nonprofit, and he worked, you know, for him, with his nonprofit organization. Definitely he was a ladies' man. I'll just say that. Okay. I found women to be so silly, some of them who I would meet, who were his friends, because, you know, women can get jealous over nothing. It's like, bitch, I'm his fucking daughter. The fuck is wrong with you? Not his woman, you know. Not all of them were like that. He married I think he was married like 4 times. Lady who raised me was first. Then this really evil, mean, nasty woman, second, who, thank God, that ended quickly and swiftly. The one he was married to the longest, she was a nice lady, very nice woman. Me and her didn't always get along, but when I got older, you know, we did. She was very nice. I think I was 14 when they married, and maybe my late 20s when it kind of ended. But I know that she had mentioned that she still loved him, you know, and always cared for him and everything. And then somebody else for a hot second, which I told them, don't do that. I told them both because they asked. I was like in my late 20s at that point. I was living in Atlanta then in graduate school, and they asked, and I was like, but he did anyway, and it lasted for a second. But anyway, but she was a nice lady. I just I didn't understand I don't know, maybe it was lonely shit. I don't know what that was all about, okay? But nevertheless, Anyway, I just want to do all that and say all that for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to fathers all around the world. Okay, happy Father's Day. Yeah, if you love your father, love him. Shit. These people, we all. I mean, something about enduring, something enduring, lasting forever. I'm not quite sure what's being said here, but that's what I'm hearing. Enduring, lasting forever. Make sure you love him. Enduring, lasting forever. Those things that people do at times, parents and whatnot. Parents, they make choices that I'm hearing can hinder their growth, okay, hinder their possibilities, and definitely with their children and whatnot. I don't know, but in terms of my situation and my father, those things that he may have done or not done, okay, those are not burdens for me to bear. You know, the situation with my birth mother, and I said this to her as well, my birth mother. Those are not situations. Whatever happened with y'all, that's not a burden for me to bear, and I won't. I will not. You know, I won't. But I love my dad. I'm thankful for my dad. I'm even feeling like it's like coming to my spirit. I'm glad I met my dad. You know, my dad is a wonderful man as far as I'm concerned. Okay, didn't always make the best choices, and I'm sure he, as anybody who got some sense and can look at their life, okay, can know that. Okay, didn't always make the best choices. All right, whatever took place in regards to my, what do you call it, being created and made and all of that. Again, it really has, in a way, I feel like it has nothing to do with me, in terms of how people may have felt. Hello to whomever is in the room. How people may have felt about me as a result of other people's actions. That don't have shit to do with me, you know. And I won't wear anyone's burdens or problems concerning that. You know, I'm here. Apparently, God wanted me here, so I am here, and I'm thankful. Okay. And once again, I love my father, and so I'm feeling and. I'm thinking anything else need to be said. I'm here to know that's it. Now, if so, you know, I may think of something later on, like, oh, damn, I should have said, why didn't I say blah, 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 whatever. You know how that goes, okay? Oh, boy, but I'm washing clothes, honey. I'm about to go get the rest of these clothes and whatnot and go back out in this heat. Why am I here in Georgia heat? I'm not living in Georgia. I remember I did when I was living in Atlanta. Lord, the heat down there, my God, I felt like I was walking around with a fucking comforter on my body under 90-degree heat, in 90-degree heat. Just wrapped around me, okay? Oh, boy, like I said, I can't stand this extreme heat. I can't. I don't like it, okay? My grandmother, my father's stepmother, she was from Alabama. And she loved the wintertime here in Cleveland. She loved this shit. Winters here are nothing like they used to be, but she loved the cold. I was like, well, I ain't saying I love the extreme cold like I said earlier, but this heat is, I don't like it, okay? And I had a friend who lived in Houston talking about move here. Hell no, goddamn. All that goddamn heat. All right, but anyway, I feel like that's it, all right? Happy Father's Day, all right? As far as I'm concerned, my dad is the greatest, all right? One beautiful man, love him, okay? And I'm glad I'm his child, all right? All right, y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your Father's Day. If you're mad at him, don't know him, and all that type of shit, still enjoy your fucking day, all right? Don't let this shit weigh on you, all right? You all have a great day. Have favor. Peace.